gon' keep it rocking till the break of day.
Man, we outside looking at the skyline, flowing with the breeze as it flows through the leaves. We just watching time fly.
What up, YouTube? It's your boy JusRzd, and welcome to another episode and another edition of Behind the Soul. It's a podcast segment that I do on my channel where we take a deep dive behind the scenes look at what it means to be an independent artist, a believer in Jesus, a husband, a father. You might get some of my testimony, you might not. You might get an update on different things that I got going on in life or in music, and we're just gonna take a look behind the soul and we're gonna analyze it. We're gonna go into deeper meanings. I mean, I'm a poet at heart, so everything I put out musically, everything that I do, there's always a deeper meaning, a deeper layer and a deeper meaning behind different things. And just living life. You live life long enough, you realize there's always deeper meanings that you can find out of the tiniest of lessons. So Behind the Soul is just a podcast segment on this channel where we just peel that layer back and we take a step behind the soul or behind the curtain and get a deeper dive at what life has to offer and what we experience. And last week's episode, this week's episode is actually going to be really special because last week's episode I introduced who the Cast Outs were. The Cast Outs is a new hip-hop duo comprised of myself, JusRzd, and my brother, Weezy Satellite Kid. And we dropped the project last Friday. I talked about it in last week's episode, but it hadn't dropped yet. It's out here now. It's out here. So with it being out here, we're going to talk about the album. So today's episode is going to be about For the Free. So I want to just start off with the vibe and feel of the record. Of the entire album. It's very, very, very hip hop soulish. It's very, it's very neo soul and hip hop infused, kind of at its core. And it's jazzy, it's soulful, it's smooth. The production is top tier in my opinion. Shout out to my brother, Still a Kid. He produced every track on the record except for Can't Get It Back, which is the last song on the album. So he produced 8 of the records for the album. Can't Get It Back was produced by OK Hip Hop. Shout out to OK Hip Hop. Always killing it on production. And yeah, man, the feel and the vibe of this particular project with me and Weez particularly speaking of us two, we both kind of fell in love. When we fell in love with music, we both kind of fell in love with like R&B first. Like I got introduced to old school R&B and gospel. That's what I was raised on. And his early musical entries, he was introduced to a lot of R&B growing up. So before hip hop. So it's interesting how both of our backgrounds kind of dabble in R&B. Now, of course, Weez isn't necessarily a singer, but the way he floats on the melodies and is able to pick apart cadences and play with alliteration and different wordplay and lyricism and lyrical skills and abilities, is beautiful to see because it's not too many people that can do it the way that Weez can do it. Dare I say, it's not anybody that can do it the way that Weez can do it. And it's interesting, man. I just remember hearing him on a record I thought it was Foggy Raw at first because he has that, he can float in that lackadaisical pocket sometimes. And I was like, yo, this Foggy? And I looked and I was like, who is Weez the Satellite Kid? Like, who is this guy? But I was like, bro, I was sliding, but I don't know. I ain't never heard him. And I remember hearing that, and I was just like, I heard a couple more records from him. I was like, yo, bro, kind of cold. I'm gonna do a record with him. And it was interesting. He heard some of my stuff and he was like, yo, bro, kind of cold. I wouldn't mind doing a record with him. So the first record we ever did together is actually on the project and it's titled Butterfly.
Feel like a butterfly that's been traumatized from within. I ain't trying to run and hide once again. I wanna come inside, let me in. Feel like a butterfly in the wind that's been traumatized from within. I ain't trying to run and hide once again. I wanna come inside, let me in. What is love?
Butterfly is a song that came from a very tumultuous time for me specifically. I'll get into that in another video, but a very tumultuous time for your boy specifically. But it just came from a place of wanting to truly trying to figure out how I want to phrase this. It came from a place of truly analyzing like what love is, and just not only what love is, but who love is, and how we as people can be scarred and jaded from our experiences and dealings with what we thought was love. It was interesting because I remember hearing the record, Still a Kid sent me the beat, and I was just like, yo, this one cold. And I heard a melody on it, and I was just like, dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm hearing, but I'm hearing this dope melody. I don't know what to do with it. I ain't got no words. And then so I'm listening to it. I'm at work. Yeah, at this particular time when Still a Kid sent this to me, we actually both worked at the same job. So I'm riding around work. I'm just like playing with different melodies that I hear on the joint. And I was just like, feel like a butterfly in the wind that's been traumatized from me. I was just like, I ain't got no words to fill that out. I just got like a couple phrases. So I'm like, all right. So I just kept listening to it, riding around work, listening to it. And eventually by the time, I don't even know if it was like first break or second break on my job, like maybe 3-4 hours into the job, the hook was already in my head. I hadn't laid it down yet, so I had to write it. I had to put it in my notes so I don't forget it. But yeah, I was just sitting there, I was like, feel like a butterfly in the wind, yeah, that's been traumatized from within. I ain't trying to run and hide once again. I wanna come inside, let me in, yeah. Like it just, I don't know, it just came out that way. I was just like, oh, this joint kind of cold. And then the original melody that popped in my head, I was like, yo, once I laid that down, like once I got an opportunity to take it to the studio, to the studio, but once I got an opportunity to take it there, I had laid down just the words that I had, and I was like, yo, this feels good, but I feel like it's missing something. So, of course, I added the harmonies. They're just gonna be out here racing this early in the morning. That's crazy. But so I went ahead and added the harmonies to it, and I was just like, yo, I still feel like it's missing something. Now, mind you, I'm still trying to discover my sound. I'm still trying to, at this particular time, still trying to discover my sound. Still trying to discover who JusRzd is musically. And so I was still new to like stacking and getting the harmonies together, and my process is totally different. Well, it's similar, but it's a little more simplified yet complex at the same time now than it was back then, because I was still figuring it out. But I laid that down, and I was just like, I feel like butterfly fly high, yeah. Butterfly, fly high, yeah. Butterfly, fly high, yeah. Like I felt like that shit. I felt like that shit just something kind of like soft yet motivating at the same time to just like encourage you to keep going and keep moving forward. And I was just like, yo, that would be dope to have that like in the background. So I laid that under the hook. And so if you pay attention, if you listen close enough, you actually hear that under the hook of Butterfly, just encouraging you to fly high, like just to keep going in life. Don't ever quit, don't ever stop. You know what I mean? Like just because just because you may lose one opportunity in life or one opportunity in love doesn't mean that there aren't more opportunities in life and love out there. And that's really where my heart was coming from when it came to writing the verse, was just like, I literally envisioned having a conversation, like almost almost like either writing a letter or like in the middle of like a speed dating event where you're like having a conversation with somebody, and it's just like you're kind of coming from an aspect where it's just like, I've experienced love, I've been hurt by love, and I don't want to be jaded, but I also know what I would like. So it's just like, let me have a conversation with you and share my story. And so it really came from that mindset and from that aspect. And like I said, Butterfly was the first record we ever actually did together, me and Weez. And that record always holds a special place in my heart. I'm low-key salty at myself because I should have re-recorded my verse after I heard how cold Weez attacked that joint, because I felt like I could have delivered it in a saucier way. However, even with the delivery that is on the record, I'm still proud of that delivery because it sounds like a conversation. It doesn't sound like I'm trying to sauce you up and be like super artsy with it. It just sounds like I'm talking to you, and I love that about that record. Because that was the heart behind it. It was just like, let's have a conversation about love, and that was literally what the verse was about. And shout out to Weez, he slid on that joint. That's one of my favorite verses from Weez. Like he slid on that joint. Like it was crazy, and it's funny. It's a few favorites of mine off of this project. Like, I love the whole project, don't get me wrong, but Butterfly is definitely up there. Get Focused is definitely up there. We all three of us slid on that joint. Shout out to Miss Jarrell. Shout out to Weez. Shout out to Still a Kid. We all slid on that joint. And I remember when I first the funny story behind Get Focused is just, I remember I had just recently got fired from a job, and it was probably like a week or two that had passed, and I was just sitting at the house, and I was just like, man, I'm tired of playing video games. I'm tired of just filling out job applications and sending my resume and not hearing nothing back. And I was just like, I'm gonna try to do something with my time. So I'm gonna try to start shooting content. I'm gonna try to start shooting like musical stuff to put on socials and stuff like that, and I'm gonna try to like go in music wise. And I just found myself at a place where it's just like, bro, I get distracted very easily. Like, yo, I need to focus. Like I need to focus, because when I'm focused, like I hone in and I zone in, and it feels like I can't be stopped at certain times and certain stints. It just feels like I'm on cloud 9 when I'm focused. I'm just honed into what I'm doing, and nothing else matters. And I'm concentrating on being consistent, and I'm concentrating on execution, and I'm concentrating on getting better. And so that's literally what birthed the hook. When I heard the record, I put it on, I was like, yo, when I'm focused, I get so high, can't control this elevation, keeps me floating while you cope with being on the ground. Gotta get focused, baby, get focused.
Sound like that, you feel me? Yeah. Lace a line, focus. I lay a line when I'm focused.
It just came out so smooth. Like, yo, like when I focus, I feel like I'm so high I can't control it. All the elevation keeps it. All the elevation that transpires in me when I get focused. Like, leave me floating. Don't try to bring me down. Like, leave me floating while you cope with being on the ground, because I'm trying to get focused. Like, that's literally where my heart came from for that record. And it was just one of them records. It was one of them ones where it was just like, yo, we gotta rap on this joint. Like, we gotta rap on this joint. And everybody delivered. Like, Miss Devil Dancing, he spun a bit. Like, Miss delivered. Weez delivered. Chilling my up front, I chilling my back end. I'm out then I'm back in. Yeah, it's just crazy. And you know, I had to do my thug dizzle as well. You feel me? Like, skywalking in my jeans. Like, yeah, I ain't gonna get to it. Anyway, we all delivered. It was fire. But yeah, man, Get Focused is definitely a fan favorite of mine personally. I know Weez loves that record. I know Mitch loves that record. I know Still a Kid loves that record. Another special one of mine, shout out to Still a Kid, but he hates. So I gotta throw this in here because he hates the production of a song he produced. He hates the production on I Ain't Never Gone. And I love it. As soon as I heard it, I was like, yo, this sound like Slum Village and Dwelle. This sound like Faded Love, Selfish. Like, it sound like some old Dilla type John. Like, yo, like, send this to me. He was just like, you want this? You want this one? This what you want? I was like, bro, send it to me. I got an idea.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Even though I might trip, and even if you see me slip, no, I ain't never gon' quit. I ain't never gon' switch. Even when they actin' strange, trying to throw dirt on my name, no, I ain't never gon' quit. I ain't never gon' switch.
And so he sent it to me, and I was just like, man, this song got like a bounce to it. It's just like, it's like, it's so simple, yet it gives you so much room and opportunity and space to like be able to float through different melodies and different cadences and different lyrical, like it allows you to flex your muscle as an artist. Like, that's one thing. This is a note for some producers. Like, you don't always need super complex structures, song structures, and beats and beat switches. Sometimes you could just have something simple, just a simple loop or just a simple chord progression that just kind of gives the artist an opportunity to flex his muscles and flex the pen real quick. And that's, for me, that's what I Ain't Never Gone really did. And it just opened it up. And I remember sending that to Weez, and he was like, oh yeah, this light work. This light work. And so we ended up killing that joint. And it's just really just speaking to the heart of just, hey man, even if you see me off my game, even if you see me slipping, tripping, or falling, I ain't never gonna quit though. You might have caught me on a bad day, but I ain't never gonna quit. Like, even though I might slip, even if you see me trip, no, I ain't never gonna quit. You feel me? Like, I Ain't Never Gone is one of the ones for me. And everybody who's heard that record has talked about that record and how good they feel like that record is. And I just think it's hilarious because I love the record. Still a Kid, he feels like he was mad and experienced when he produced that record, but the record fires. So I don't know what he's talking about. So I like throwing it in his face at every opportunity. Just because I know it's gonna work his nerve. And another favorite of mine is the intro. That joint was just, it was just cold. It gave us an ability to kind of like play off of one another on the verses. The hook kind of went through like 2 or 3 different changes. It was always, the words and stuff was always the same, but it was how it was delivered that was changed. Because I remember the first few times I was just like, all right, it was more chill and more reserved. Like, this is for the free. This is for the free. This is for the free. You and I plus the tribe, that's unity. And then it was just like, I let that sit for a while, and I was just like, you know what? I feel like I could deliver this a little bit more enthusiastically. So then that's how we got to the that's how we got to the version that actually made the cut for the album. Was
This is for the free. This is for the free. This is for the free. You and I plus the tribe that's unity. Love.
Was because of just me hearing it back and just like, it's cool. It's cool with it being so simple, but I feel like it could be delivered more enthusiastically. I feel like I could put some more sauce on it. You know what I mean? So that's how that's how we got the version that ended up on the album. Definitely a favorite. Take That was a favorite as well. Fun fact: me and Still a Kid actually worked on the production for Take That. Granted, I didn't I don't know how to produce beats, but what we did was he had some chords in there when he was originally making the beat. I was on the phone with him. I think I was on Discord with him or something like that, and I was like, yo, it would be fire if you I was in the process of actually cutting up some vocal samples and stems to send to him so he could use them in future beats. And I was like, yo, it would be fire if you like sampled one of my records and made a beat out of it. And he was just like, well, since you're in front of your computer, why don't you sing these notes for me? And so the keys and the chords that he had me sing the notes for him. So I sung the notes. It was maybe about 6 or 7 notes. And then I sent it to him. And then he sent me back the full song with my vocals as the chords and the notes in the verses. So the chords and notes that you hear in the verses are actually me singing the actual notes of the song. So
Can't stop, won't stop, bring the beat in. Feel it in your soul, never bold. We just deep in the deep end like EXO. How we echo that love that never let go. Giving grace but never stressed though. After everything he bled so fluidly, how he drew in me. If you wanna get there, more gotta see more intuitively. Then this little shop of horrors keep them close by, cause we elevate through the essence of the most high. Heavenly melodies never settling. You know it.
that I Take That is always gonna be a fan favorite of mine just because of that, because that's the only record so far that's released that actually has my vocals in the beat. So I think that's just a little music nerd from me. I just thought that was cool, so I was just like, yo, that's definitely a fan favorite for me. And then we got Can't Get It Back is definitely a fan favorite for me as well. Shout out to Baby Keem and Young Thug for the high pitched vocals on Can't Get It Back and Get Focused. And the reason why I shout them out is because certain artists, the way I listen to music, especially like if it's from like a secular artist standpoint, the way I listen to music, I listen to it instead of for entertainment, I listen to it for like breaking it down and reverse engineering it to see like, okay, this is how he attacked this, he added this here, he added this ad-lib there, he threw this melody here to add more ear candy and threw some harmonies in there to fill it out. He panned the harmonies so that way they both hitting at the same time on both sides, so it feels like more than what it actually is. So it's like I kind of it's almost like a beautiful mind when I be listening to music. It'd be like, oh, okay, they did that. And then sometimes I just listen to music just because I think certain songs are funny. But yeah, I remember to be fair, I'm not really a Young Thug fan as far as his music. I don't really like his music, but the way he uses his voice as like an instrument in his music and in his melodies is actually pretty unique. And Baby Keem also does something similar to that as well. And so it's just like hearing them do that kind of showed me that you can do that. And because that showed me that you can do that, I ended up doing that in songs like Get Focused and Can't Get It Back to add extra flair and extra sauce to to both of those records, because I could have easily sung it regular, like anxious thoughts run through your mind, but you can't press rewind. Dang, I forgot my lyrics. But you can't press rewind, so you should take your time, because once it's gone you can't get it back. I could have sung it regular if I wanted to, but I was just like, nah, let's go up. Anxious thoughts run through your mind, but you can't press rewind. Anxious thoughts run through your mind, but you can't press rewind, so you should take your time, cause once it's gone you can't get it back. Anxious thoughts run through your mind, but you can't press rewind, so you should take your time, cause once it's gone you can't get it.
What is time but a currency?
Never put some auto-tune on that jump. Totally different animal. That's all I'm saying. Like totally different animal. Like it sounds fine if you just want to sing it regular, like it's cool. But what's gonna add that flair? What's gonna add that pop? So you gotta try stuff out, man. You can't be afraid to try stuff. You can't be afraid to fail. Like you just gotta try it. See if it sounds good. If it don't, do it a different way. Don't be afraid to rewrite stuff. Like it's a lot of different things and work that was put into this album that was much appreciated. That was another record. Can't Get It Back was another record where it was just like, nah, we gotta rap. And then at the end, I was just like, I feel like singing. So I'll just go off. But yeah, man, it's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of favorite records in For the Free for me. Like I said, it was a very hip hop soulish influence record. It was a very hip hop soul influence, a very hip hop soul, jazz, and neo soul influence record. So you'll get the boom bap, you'll get the jazz chords, the jazz instruments, and you'll get the neo soul vibe as well as the hip hop bag, because we rapping on that joint. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to do this video. I don't want to hold y'all up all day, but I wanted to do this video talking about some of my favorites from For the Free. It's only 9 records on the album, and it dropped last Friday. It's been getting great it's been getting great feedback. People have been talking about it, saying how much they enjoyed it. I'll actually have a link to the playlist at the end of this video so you can actually listen to it in its totality. I'll also have a link in the description so you can listen to it in its totality on whatever streaming service you use to stream your music. But like I said, at the end of this video, I also have a link to the playlist, so that way you'll be able to actually listen to the whole thing if you want to stay on YouTube. But yeah, man, let me know in the comments below how y'all feel about the album. What's your favorite record? What's your favorite record from the album? Do y'all want more records from the cast outs? We got more in the tuck. It's just we wanted to give y'all a good cohesive sample size for the first album, and the second album it's already in the works. Just know that it's already in the works. But are you excited? Have you listened to the album yet? If not, definitely put it in your list of music you need to check out. And don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified anytime we put a new video on the channel. And we on our way to get 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. We can do it with your help. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And never forget, it's FreeSoul to the show free. Let's get it, my boy.